Transaction processing, Module 5, database management system. Content for learning management system under Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. In this session, we will discuss about introduction to transaction processing. Under this, we will discuss about single user versus multi-user systems, transactions, database items, read and write operations, and DBMS buffers. Why concurrency control is needed? Why recovery is needed? First, we will discuss about single user versus multi-user systems. The concept of transaction provides a mechanism for describing logical units of database processing. Transaction processing systems are systems with large databases and hundreds of concurrent users executing database transactions. For example, airline reservation system, banking, credit card processing, online retail processing or online retail purchasing, stock markets, supermarket checkouts, and many other applications. These systems require high availability and fast response time for hundreds of concurrent users. A transaction is typically implemented by a concurrent program which includes database comments such as retrievals, insertions, deletions, and updates. In transaction processing, we will discuss about single user versus multi-user systems. Single user system means a DBMS is single user if at most one user at a time can use the system. Single user means only one user can use the system at a time. For example, personal computer system. Multi-user systems means a DBMS is multi-user if many users can use the system and hence access the database concurrently. For example, airline reservation system. Any number of users can access the airline reservation system at a time. It's called multi-user system. Concurrent access is possible because of multi-programming. Multi-programming means we can execute any number of programs at a time. Multi-programming can be achieved by interleaved execution and parallel processing. This diagram illustrates interleaved processing and parallel processing. Multi-programming operating system execute some commands from one process, then suspend that process and execute some commands from the next process, and so on. A process is resumed to the point where it is suspended whenever it gets its turn to use the CPU again. Hence, concurrent execution of process is actually interleaved. See this figure. There are two processes, A and B. The processes A and B are interleaved. First, the process A is running. This process means the process A is suspended, and then the process B is running. Again, the process A is running from the point of where it was suspended. Again, the process B is executed where it was suspended. Okay, and so on. Okay, the process A and B are interleaved for completing the programs. In process C and D, there are CPUs, CPU1, CPU2, two processors, process C and D. Process C and D are running in parallel. Here the process C and D are running in parallel, but process A and B are interleaved. Okay, only one process is executing at a time, but it looks like both the processes are running in concurrently. But in parallel processing, process C is running on CPU1, process D is running on CPU2. Is called parallel processing. There are two processes A and B executing concurrently in an interleaved fashion. Interleaving keeps the CPU busy when a process requires an input or output operations. The CPU is switched to execute another process rather than remaining idle during I/O time. If the computer system has multiple hardware processors, computer system has multiple hardware processors called CPUs. Parallel processing of multiple processors is possible. Okay, this is the example processors C and D. The execution of processors C and D is the parallel processing. Next, transactions, databases, read and write operations, and DBMS buffers. A transaction is an executing program. A transaction is an executing program that performs a logical unit of database processing. It includes one or more database access operations such as insertion, deletion, or modification operations. It can be either embedded with an application using begin transaction and end transaction statements, or specified interactively via a high-level query language such as structured query language. Transactions which do not update the database but only retrieve data are known as read-only transactions. Transactions which do not update the database but only retrieve data are known as read-only transactions. Transactions which do update database are known as read-write transactions. In the second case, we can read the transactions or write the transaction onto the database. It's called read-write transactions. A database is basically represented as a collection of named data items. The size of a data item is called its granularity. A database is basically represented as a collection of named data items. The size of a data item is called its granularity. A data item can be a database record, but it can also be a larger unit such as whole disk block, or even a smaller unit such as an individual field or attribute value of some record in the database. Each data item has a unique name. Each data item has a unique name. Basic database access operations that a transaction can include are read underscore item of X. Here X is a named data item. Read underscore item of X means reads a database item name X into a program variable. Write underscore item of X means writes the value of a program variable, writes the value of a program variable into the database item named X. Executing read underscore item X includes the following steps. What are the steps required to executing read underscore item of X? The first step is find the address of the disk block that contains item X. Find the address of the disk block that contains item X. Second step, copy the block into a buffer in main memory. Copy the block into a buffer in main memory. And the last step is copy the item X from the buffer to program variable named x. These are the three steps to executing read underscore item x. Then what are the steps needed to execute write underscore item of x? Executing write underscore item of x includes the following steps. Find the address of the disk block that contains item x. Find the address of the disk block that contains item x. Next, copy the disk block into a buffer in main memory. Next step, copy the item x from program variable name x into its correct location in buffer. And then store the updated disk block from buffer back to disk either immediately or later. Okay, these are the steps required to execute write underscore item of x. The decision of when to store a modified disk block is handled by recovery manager of the DBMS in cooperation with operating system. A database cache includes a number of data buffers. When the buffers are all occupied, a buffer replacement policy is used. Decisions of when to store a modified disk block is handled by recovery manager of the DBMS in cooperation with operating system. A database cache includes a number of data buffers. When the buffers are all occupied, a buffer replacement policy is used to choose one of the buffers to be replaced. For example, LRU, least recently used. A transaction includes read underscore item and write underscore item operations to access and update database. The read set of a transaction is the set of all items. The read set of a transaction is the set of all items that the transaction reads. The write set is the set of all items that the transaction writes. For example, read set of transaction 1 as in figure. This is x comma y, reading the set x comma y, and its write set is also x comma y, reading the set x comma y and also writing x comma y. These are the two simple transactions. This is the transaction T1, this is the transaction T2. In transaction T1, read underscore item x, reading the value of item x. X is equal to x minus n, subtracting some value from x, and the value of x is updated, and then writing the value, updated value of x. Again, read another value y, updating the value of y, adding some value, and then write the updated item. And in transaction T2, read item x is equal to x plus m, write item x. For example, x is equal to 10. X is equal to 10, reading x 10, n is equal to 5, 10 minus pi, the value of pi is right into the database. Read another item y, for example 20, y is equal to y plus n, 20 plus pi, 25, right? The value 25 onto the database. Similarly, transaction T2. These are the two simple transactions. Then, why concurrency control is needed? Several problems can occur when concurrent transactions execute in an uncontrolled manner. Why concurrency control is needed? Several problems can occur when concurrent transactions execute in an uncontrolled manner. For example, we consider an airline reservation system or database. Each record is stored for an airline flight, which includes number of reserved seats among other informations. For example, in this diagram, in transaction T1, that transfers n reservations from one flight whose number of reserved seats is stored in the database item name x to another flight whose number of reserved seats is stored in the database item named y. In transaction T2, that just reserves m seats on the first flight x referenced in transaction T1. Types of problems we may encounter. What are the types of problems we encounter? The last update problem, the temporary update or dirty read problem, the incorrect summary problem, the unrepeatable read problem. In last update problem, this problem occurs when two transactions that access the same database items have their operations interleaved in a way that makes the value of some database item incorrect. What is the last update problem. In this problem occurs when two transactions that access the same database items have their operations interleaved in a way that makes the value of some database item incorrect. Suppose the transaction T1 and T2 are submitted at approximately the same time. Suppose the transactions T1 and T2 are submitted approximately the same time, and suppose that their operations are interleaved. Their operations are interleaved as in this figure. In this case, the final value of item X is incorrect. The final value of X is incorrect because T2 reads the value of X before T1 changes it in the database. T2 accessing the value of X before T1 writing the value of updated value of X onto the database, and hence the updated value resulting from T1 is lost. Is called last update problem. For example, X is equal to 80. For example, X is equal to the value of X is 80. Means there were 80 reservations on the flight. N equal to 5. N equal to 5. T1 transfers 5 seats reservations from the flight corresponding to X to the flight corresponding to Y. N is equal to 5 means T1 transfers 5 seat reservations from the flight corresponding to X to the flight corresponding to Y, means transferring 5 seats from X to Y. M is equal to 4. M is equal to 4 means T2 reserves 4 seats on X. X is equal to 80. X is equal to 80 minus 5. 75. The value 75 is not writing onto the database. Before writing onto the database, the transaction T2 accessing the value X value, read item X, means here X is 80 because still 75 is not updated on the database. So the transaction T2 is accessing 80. 80 plus 4, 84. The value 84 write onto the database. The value 84 write onto the database. But the expected value is 75. But here writing 84 onto the database. Then reading another variable y. Y is equal to y plus n. Okay. For example, y is equal to 20. 20 plus 5, 25, and then writing 25 onto the database. Here, writing the value 75 onto the database is last. It's called last update problem. See here, item X has an incorrect value because its update by T1 is last. Okay, this 75 value x is equal to x minus n, 80 minus 5, 75 is not updated onto the database. Before updating, the transaction T2 accessing the value x. 80 plus 4. What is the value x here? 80. 80 plus 4, 84. The value 84 writing on the database. So here the value 75 is last. It's called last update problem. And the next problem is the temporary update or dirty read problem. This problem occurs when one transaction updates a database item and then the transaction fails for some reason. One transaction updates a database item and then the transaction fails for some reason. Even the value is updated on the database, but some reasons it is failed. Meanwhile, the updated item is accessed by another transaction before it is changed back to its original value. This is the example: transaction T1, transaction T2. Read item X, modifying the item X, and then writing item X on the database. Transaction T2, reading item X, updating the item X, and write item X on the database. Then reading item Y. But here some regions, it can be any regions, transaction fails. Transaction T1 fails and must change the value of X back to its old value. Meanwhile, T2 has read the temporary incorrect value of X. Next, the incorrect summary problem. If one transaction is calculating an aggregate summary function on a number of database items, while other transactions are updating some of these items, the aggregate function may calculate some values before they are updated and others after they are updated. Is the example. There are two transactions. Okay, here T3 reads X. Transaction T3 reads X after n is subtracted and reads Y before n is added and reads Y before n is added. A wrong summary is the result. T3 reads X after n is subtracted, right? And reads Y. Transaction T3 reads Y before n is added to the A wrong summary is the result. It's called the incorrect summary problem. And the last one is the unrepeatable read problem. Transaction T reads the same item twice and gets different values on each read. Since the item was modified by another transaction, T dash between two reads is called unrepeatable read problem. Why recovery is needed? Whenever a transaction is submitted to a database for execution, the system is responsible for making sure that either all the operations in the transaction are completed successfully and their effect is recorded permanently in the database, or the transaction does not have any effect on the database or any other transactions. In the first case, the transaction is said to be committed. First case means recorded permanently in the database is called the transaction is said to be committed. Whereas in the second case, the transaction is aborted. Aborted means transaction does not have any effect on the database or any other transaction is called aborted. If transaction is successfully recorded permanently recorded, then it is called committed. There is no effect on the database or any other transaction is called aborted. If transaction fails after executing some of its operations, but before executing all of them, the operations already executed must be undone and have no lasting effect. There are 6 types of failures. A computer failure or system crash, a hardware, software or network error occurs. In this case, a hardware, software or network error occurs in the computer system during transaction execution. Hardware crashes are usually media failures, for example, main memory failure. And the second type of failures is a transaction or system error. Some operation in the transaction may cause it to fail, such as integer overflow or division by 0. Transaction failure may also occur because of erroneous parameter values. And third type of failure is local errors or exception conditions detected by the transaction. During transaction execution, certain conditions may occur that necessitate cancellation of the transaction. For example, data for the transaction may not be found. Next one is concurrency control enforcement. The concurrency control may decide to abort a transaction because it violates serializability or several transactions are in a state of deadlock. Next one, disk failure. Some disk blocks may lose their data because of a read or write malfunctions or because of a disk read or write get crash. And the last type of failure is physical problems and catastrophes. This refers to an endless list of problems that includes power or air conditioning failure, fire, theft, overwriting disk or tapes by mistake. Failures of types: a computer failure, a transaction or system error, local errors or exception conditions detected by transaction, and concurrency control enforcement are more common than disk failure, physical problems, and catastrophes. Whenever a failure of computer failure, transaction failure, local errors, concurrency control enforcement occurs, the system must keep sufficient information to quickly recover from the failure. Disk failure or physical problems or other catastrophic problems do not happen frequently. If they do occur, recovery is a major task. Today we discussed about introduction to transaction processing. Under this topic we discussed about single user versus multi-user systems, transactions, database items, read and write operations, and DBMS buffers. Why concurrency control is needed? Why recovery is needed? Thank you.